You're listening to a Mamamia podcast.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of land and waters that this podcast is recorded on. Hello and welcome to Cancelled, the Lazy Girl's Guide to Bizarre Celebrity Cancellations. It is Jessie and Claire Stevens here, and we wanted to give you a little present.
Hi, we do. And we will be in your ears for the whole holiday period. We know you need something to listen to before we return to normal programming on January 14. So Mamamia is putting on a hot pod summer.
It's hot in here. Must be summer.
We're giving you our favourite moments. And today, we need to talk about Drew Barrymore.
She's a hand fondler, some call her. She gets too close.
Oh, yeah.
You're wondering what I was talking about.
Oh,
She
yeah.
started her career as a baby on an ad. And she went on to star in The Wedding Singer, Charlie's Angels, and 50 First Dates.
Her very early relationship with acting and fame has shaped her into an overly honest and some might say intense person.
She invites big celebrities onto her self-titled talk show. And look, we need to talk about the time she called Kamala Mamala.
I think Kamala's kids call her Mamala.
They do, but it was just that Drew Barrymore said,
Sorry, Drew
"You're
Barrymore.
our Mamala."
Drew-
Anyway, this
Yep.
is a moment from our big episode on Drew Barrymore. By 11, Barrymore had an alcohol problem. By 12, she said she was a drug addict. By 13, she was self-harming and hospitalised for a year and a half, and by 14, she was divorced from her parents and living on her own. She went on to star in some of the most iconic films ever. Never Been Kissed.
Sorry I'm late. It took me forever to get here.
I know what you mean.
Fabulous.
Disagree.
Scream.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
What did you say?
Fabulous. Charlie's Angels.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
Fabulous. Ever After. Watched it at school. The Wedding Singer. 50 First Dates. Music and Lyrics. Where Hugh Grant was like, I don't think she likes me. Remember? She came up in that episode. And most recently, she was in Santa Clara Diet. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Clarita
like a horror
Diet?
movie?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
did-
watch it. I think
yeah.
it was about zombies. It was very trying to be The Walking Dead. Anyway, now she hosts her own talk show called The Drew Barrymore Show.
Oh, thanks for hanging out with us. Can I just share something and be totally honest? I am rocking the caffeine this morning because I pulled an all-nighter with my daughter, Frankie. I'm sure you thought everything goes exactly according to plan at all times around here, right?
Which I consume solely through TikTok.
And we're going to get to it. Comes up a fair bit. Before we begin, I like Drew.
Yeah, no, always get good vibes. She seems like she'd be lovely in person.
Yeah, so I think she's a good actress. And this was a surprisingly difficult episode to prep for because despite being in the industry since she was 11 months old, she's not been cancelled that often. Oh, it's happened, but not very often. She seems very sweet and she's had a rough upbringing and come back from that, which personally I find commendable. Claire,
Yes, but it
discuss.
also goes to show how great it was that for somebody like Drew Barrymore, social media didn't exist when she was a teenager. Because
right.
she got to just go to rehab.
Yes,
know?
but when she was, I think she was about 19 and she was on Larry.
One of the Larrys.
One of the Larrys, David Letterman.
David
Letterman, one of the Larrys. David Letterman. And she danced on the table and she flashed him.
Oh.
And that's on the internet.
Was
like,
it cringe?
This is the thing. The internet fucking loves Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
All the comments are just like,
Classic Drew.
She's classic Drew. She's a good time. She's fun. She's so 90s, love her hair. And I'm like, she flashed David Letterman. I'm not cancelling her, but neither are you.
Yeah.
So, look, I don't decide who's in the cancel courtroom. The culture does. And my structure for today is as follows. The Original Nepo Baby. Unemployable by 14. She says she'd had a midlife crisis by 14.
I reckon I was unemployable by 14, but that's because
Me too.
no, I did make horrific mistakes at Boost Juice.
I didn't show up for my second shift because I got confused at the video shop. So I was unemployable. No, Mum called and said, can you hire her back? And they said, okay. Dancing in the Rain. Is Drew Barrymore a scab?
Ooh.
And lastly, The Drew Barrymore Show.
Yes.
The Original Nepo Baby. Little Drew was born to two actors, but that is not the whole story. She comes from a family of actors that stretches back. Guess. How many years do you think?
I think like 3 generations. No, God, wait, no, there was no acting 3 generations ago. I don't know.
400 years.
What?
I thought the same about acting.
There was no acting 400 years
400
ago.
years. I didn't know. This is in my notes. I didn't know they had actors 400 years ago. Thought they only had farmers. That's where Shakespeare comes up. Is that I'm like, I didn't do the maths. But Shakespeare, 1600s
vibes, yeah.
Now 2000s-ish. Cannot be sure, but I'm thinking 400 years-ish. So I'm imagining a great-great-great-great-great-grandfather or grandmother, probably grandfather because patriarchy, in tights, Midsummer Night's Dream with his willy contour out.
Yeah, and looking a lot like Drew.
Oh, looking exactly like Drew.
Drew's face.
Look, you saw her in the dog food commercial. You can't deny her talent. But even Barrymore says she was on movie sets from day one, so when they needed a baby, it's like, how about we get the one sucking the camera?
Because you always wonder, you see like a baby in a show, you think, who's that?
Who's that?
It's always the wrong age. Like, it's your newborn and it's a 3-year-old.
Yeah. So that's a plot point. That 14-kilo baby.
Why did that person birth a fully formed human being?
Her godmother is Italian actress Sophia Loren.
Oh, wow.
And her godfather is a bit more low-key, Steven Spielberg.
Oh.
She asked after E.T. if he could be her godfather. And her mum was like, okay, fine. When she was 19 and she posed naked for Playboy, Spielberg sent her a large quilt with a note attached that simply read, cover up.
Oh, what a good godfather.
Had some advice.
I mean, no
All power
misogyny,
to her.
sexist, patriarchy, etc. But
she didn't have a dad.
It's cute that he was interacting
being
with her. Yeah.
There's a photo of her at 9 years old beside President Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
But, and this is where I'm always uncomfortable with the Nepo baby stuff. It might have given her a leg up in her career, but her home life, a mess. Her dad was an alcoholic, left when she was 9, although he'd always been absent. And around that time, I think she was about 8 years old when her mum was like, babe, let's go clubbing 5 nights a week.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Studio
you
54.
can't.
Yeah, which brings us to Unemployable by 14.
Mm-hmm.
In an interview with The Guardian, Barrymore says that by her mid-teens, she couldn't get a job. You won't believe it, but all that clubbing and no school meant that Barrymore was chaos. She was stealing her mum's car and, in her words, out of control. She says she was drinking at 9, smoking pot at 10, using cocaine at 12, which meant she was blacklisted from Hollywood for having a reputation as a party girl. Can you imagine?
A party girl that's just a child.
Yes. Okay, so you're a director or a producer and you're out at the club and you're seeing a 12-year-old snort cocaine and you're like, ugh. Just another party girl going too hard on a Tuesday night, not being like, maybe we should confiscate the cocaine.
Yeah. Do you need some help? Because by my calculations, you should be in year 6.
You should be in year 6. Would you like some ice cream with some iced magic? Because that should be the fun.
Why don't you go to your room and play this great game called The Sims?
You should be playing The Sims in a dressing gown.
But yeah, it's weird to look at that kid and be like, here comes trouble.
Blacklisting you. Just another party girl. She's 12. So she was sent to rehab twice before she was 13.
Imagine being in rehab.
Imagine you go to
the
rehab.
rehab people.
It's like, are you here
Must
to visit your mum?
Yeah.
No. I am here for
we don't
rehab.
treat substance abuse in children.
Yeah, I feel like
it's
they
such
should have
a
sent her somewhere
rare
else.
issue.
Then at 13, Drew Barrymore's mum, Jade, was like, I've had enough. I can't do this. So she sent her to a psychiatric facility for 1 year and 1.5. 18 months. She sent her to a psychiatric unit that she couldn't leave. She was like, you're a lot. And it's like, yeah, no shit.
You took
On
me
her
clubbing.
12th birthday, she was snorting the cocaine.
Yeah. That is so sad. And it reminds me of this thing I've heard people say where it's like you can be, like when you talk about privilege.
Yeah.
You can
Economically
be
privileged, but like family-wise, incredibly
emotionally deprived.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And that's what it was
Neglected.
for her. And you think privilege is more complicated than simply having parents who happen to be in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because the cost of that
was big.
was awful.
So while she was there, a few professionals advised that she emancipate herself from her mother, who maybe wasn't the best influence. So by 14, she was living on her own, divorced from her parents. She washed dishes and worked some normal jobs for a few years, but eventually she got a role in an erotic thriller called Poison Ivy in 1992, and her career skyrocketed from there. To listen to that entire episode, click the link in our show notes.
We're investigating the serious stuff, like, is she a scab? Does she know what personal space is?
And why does she sometimes make us feel weird when she's sitting on people's laps? Sometimes she's kneeling in front of people.
Yeah.
Prostrating,
It's
some
too
would
much.
say.
We're recancelling 3 things every week over the summer break, including celebrities, TV shows, celebrity couples, and press tours, because we need to keep the investigations running.
Someone's got to do it. You can find videos from the podcast and evidence of celebrity crimes on our Instagram @thetwins_thoughts or on TikTok @cancelthepodcast. Bye.
Bye.